Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it. We'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Hope that you're doing well. It is 1 p.m. Eastern. We are live, so if you're watching us, please ask us questions about scrap. Tell us, things that you want us to talk about, even inside of this. It's been a couple of weeks. I was on vacation last week, so it's great to be back in the saddle. And it's great to see that the markets really were relatively stable. But don't forget, if you like what I'm talking about and what we talk about on our channel, like and subscribe to our channel and our videos so you can get alerted. And we even have member-only videos that we post out there that just teaches you about different types of scrap and tips that you won't get anywhere else, because 14 years into this, no one else is doing anything like we're doing. So hopefully, we just keep moving forward. So let's go right into the ABCs. We'll go to aluminum first. Aluminum markets are really, really strong. This morning at Rockway Recycling, I increased some of my aluminum prices. Not on cast aluminum. Sheet aluminum went up 2 cents a pound. I think it's 57 cents a pound that we're paying. But what I really want you to pay attention about is your higher grades of aluminum scrappers. We have videos that we talk about different 6061, 6063 grades. There are grades of aluminum that you may not get often, but if you watch our videos and learn what to look for, you can get a lot of money for them. So aluminum 6063, we're paying over $1.05 per pound for bare 6063 aluminum. Now think about that. 57 cents a pound for sheet, we're paying 48 cents a pound more for a different grade if you know what you're talking about. That's a humongous upside. Now, most people just look at copper, oh, it's stripped or it's not stripped, and that's where they know they're going to make more or make less. The aluminum market has become one that you really can maximize your time and your profits on. And aluminum is being used so much more abundantly than it used to be. I sound like a broken track sometimes. The auto industry, the tech industry, right? Even the home owning industry is using aluminum so much more that it's such a great item for you to make more money on. So please, 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 please pay attention to your aluminums. So that's your A's, right? Your B's, brasses. Well, brasses had a nice uptick as well. Brass prices we've seen nationally, yellow brass over $2 per pound. We've seen really strong prices because copper has been so stable. And that's a really great thing to see. Brass specifically is not an item that I'll actually report on because it's, an alloy married from multiple ones. So it's really more of a, how's the economy going thing? How's home building going? Where's the commercial products being built? Because those things are what grows the markets, right? But brass is doing really well because copper's been doing really well. Let's go to another B, batteries. Car batteries are a dead high price item. If you're expecting car batteries to go higher than they are, you're out of your gourd. The entire industry that use car batteries, lead acid batteries, they're still going to use them, but what do we see more? Hybrids and EVs, even though they're being scaled back, okay? So lead is not used as backup systems in cell towers as it used to be. It's not being used to hold energy that's produced from solar, right? So lead's demand, other than in some medical circumstances, has been significantly down. And because of that, we're not seeing high prices. So if you get lead acid battery prices between 15 and 25 cents, that's probably a pretty good margin, and that's probably where things are going to be. Other items, A, B, C. Let's talk about your favorite, copper. Any comments yet? Just want to check before we get.
Shout outs.
Hey everyone.
And then everybody said.
My yard is saying. What do you got? Bo 1337. My yard is saying they are having problems getting cash. Anyone else having this problem? That sounds like a bad cash flow problem from them. I mean, if you order it from the bank, hopefully they have it. So watch them. That's why you like to get paid every time and not have credits or IOUs out there, especially with prices so high. But hey, we're still live, so keep asking those questions. So let's talk about copper. Copper prices week over week are down less than 1%. Now, they're down about 5% over the last month or so, but that really isn't concerning to me because we're seeing trading numbers continuing to stay above $5 per pound. I think this morning we're $5.10, right? So that's a really strong number. We were at one point maybe 511, 515, but those are small movements at this point. Think about it. 1% of $5 is 5 cents. So you're not going to see huge 3, 4, 5% market moving events anymore. The government shutdown kind of did some of that a little while ago. The Trump problems during July where copper was restricted, it wasn't restricted, it's $6 a pound. That whole thing, I don't even want to rehash that. We'll do that at our year-end recap in a couple of months, even less than that. But copper right now, is really strong. Virginia, if you could pull that Reuters article up. If you look at this Reuters article that we have posted in our weekly report, it talks about how important copper is. And if we scroll down to one of the charts, there's a bar chart that I saw a little further down. Right here. If you look at this, we still have copper coming into the country. And if you look at this, scrappers, it's, don't ignore the kind of tariff arbitrage, right? But look at what is coming into the country. And when you look at that, you can see that yellow bar getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's because there's more material coming into the country. Why is that? And how could that affect scrap prices? Well, more people want to get it in before maybe more tariffs are put into place because they're talking about that potentially happening to copper next summer. They're having I think I heard the number the other day that the Trump administration had like $18 trillion of, whether they're committed or started investments from outside countries or inside companies inside this country. So factories are being built, data centers are being built, electricity generation is being built. So the copper consumption for the electrical side, for the AI side, for the server side, for the just the overall use and need of energy is going to increase so much that these copper prices may remain at these levels for the next 12 to 24 months. Now, I do think that we're going to see a couple of dips here and there. That's just business, right? But on an aggregate level for year over year, I do see growth continuing to climb, but I see it really strong for the next 6 to 12 months. Now, going into the next 6 weeks, going into the holidays, that's where you need to really think about things. And I mentioned this in my weekly report, so don't forget to check that out and read it because there's some things I'll probably forget to mention. Traders will start taking profits from copper trading, just like stocks, bonds, or anything else in the next few weeks because of the holidays. Companies do it, traders do it, same difference, whatever you want to say. So you're going to see things happening and you're going to see kind of prices changing. And it won't shock me to see markets go down by 25 cents a pound going into the holiday season and then into January and maybe start that uptick swing again in February. These are traditional flows, the word is escaping me right now. This is just historical what happens. Prices generally go down towards the end of the year, but we're still seasonal dips is a good one. Thank you. But we're seeing strong prices still. So if you told me, oh, Tom, copper went down 25 cents, be like, all right, you're still, bear bread at my yard is $4.20 a pound today. So if you told me it went down to $4 a pound, I'd be like, all right, well, it's still a phenomenal price. Especially when you consider where we were a year ago, we still see these prices up. So really, really strong. That's copper, right? Let's go to another C. A, B, we did A, we did B, we did B, we did C. Now we're into another C, catalytic converters. Hell, in the last 2-3 months, we're seeing 15 to 20% price increases on catalytic converters. I think a lot of that is because the gold prices are still over 4,000 an ounce. I think like 4,100 and change this morning. So I think that pulled platinum up with it. And then some of the other precious metals, also silver, but that's not a cat thing. So anywho, but cat prices have gone up 15 to 20%. We still see really, really strong markets, really strong prices. And over at rrcats.com, we've been quoting the highest numbers that we have in over 3 years. So really strong numbers. We're seeing really strong domestic auto demand. Don't forget, whether you love or hate the current administration, the big beautiful bill did a few things to help the domestic auto industry. You get to deduct the interest that you pay on auto loans if you buy from a U.S. company. You're able to take those, and that's going to help the auto industry. EV credits are gone. So what do I expect to happen? EV sales are going to dip. Hybrid and gas sales are going to increase. They're going to want higher miles per gallon. They're going to want higher emission standards to remain in place. More precious metals are going to go into these catalysts, and that's going to be a good thing for the auto industry, at least for the next 3 years during this administration, and really more of a 4-year swing, because you always have that lapse year, like we had the Biden administration to the Trump administration this year, where you have that overlap. So the next 3 to 4 years, we could see cap prices remaining at strong levels. Now, let's talk about the last of our ABCs, and that's steel. We saw a little bit of optimism with steel. Really mean a little bit. So it was like a $10 per ton increase, maybe $15. And we've seen that disappear. One of the major shredders on the East Coast shut down their shredding, one of their shredders for a few weeks. We saw some price dips there. I've seen no positive price increases. And don't forget, we're looking at some of the cheapest oil prices in years. I think oil's like 55, 58 bucks a barrel. And I was listening to the president from Chevron the other day predicting oil going down another 10% next year. Decreasing gas prices, decreasing transport, decreasing diesel prices. They're talking about a national average of hitting $2 a gallon, and that's with the trillions of dollars that were pumped into the economy. That's going to help, but it's not helping steel. Look what I said a few minutes ago about aluminum in the auto industry. They're using more aluminum because it's lighter and it gives you more miles per gallon. So even if it costs more, it's better for the consumer to have a lighter, stronger car with better gas miles than is the traditional hard steel frame. I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face. Power plants, 1/20th the size. Auto factories, concrete walls. Where is the demand for steel? If you're holding steel, I would hit you and get your material out. I have a few friends that are holding items, but scrappers, these are scrap yards holding items. And what are they holding? Rotors, heavy, dense, high-priced items that take up a little space. You want to hold on to your rotors? Go for it, right? But the rest of your steel, don't touch it unless you're processing it for your non-ferrous. I've made dozens of videos on this. Many of you agree. Many of you disagree, and that's cool too, because I'm not always right. I'm actually wrong a hell of a lot more than I'd like to admit. But overall, steel prices are not going to be good, even with oil prices down. In fact, this article from Oil Price said, iron ore futures fell 4% this week. Worst drop since February due to weak Chinese steel demand. Only 40% of surveyed steel mills remain profitable, and that's going into a low seasonal period. A lot of good there, scrappers, on the steel side of things. Not a lot of good. And I know some scrap yards here in New Jersey that have been inundated with so much steel that they dropped their prices because they don't have time to process what they already have. Think about that, right? They have so much scrap in, they're dropping their prices to stop scrap from coming in, and it's still coming in because they're still pulling it out. It's just not there on the demand side of things. So a lot of these things are really what's going to contribute to, pricing next year, oil prices, electrification, the demand for energy, AI build outs. So these are going to be things that we continue to talk about and monitor. Any questions before we log off, Virginia?
I don't think so.
No? All right.
Just a couple.
We got a quick one. See you scrapping. Steel hasn't moved here for a year and a half. $1.40 a ton. Wah, wah. It stinks. It is what it is. I hate to say it. It's just not going to move anywhere. But hey, don't forget to download the iScrap app. Don't forget to update and post your prices that you do get at your scrap yards. If you have any questions on catalytic converters, contact the team at rrcats.com. And listen, what
We do have an announcement. We have a series of member-only videos coming out. 4-part series, only part 1's out so far.
Excellent. So we've been making these awesome YouTube member only videos, and we have a 4-part series. Which one is this?
When you're talking about the history, where we've come, where we're going.
Okay, this is just the history of scrap and how you really learn about markets and stuff. We do a lot of videos beforehand that get posted weeks or months later. Check this out, scrappers.
These are never going to get posted.
Yeah, we're not going to post this to everyone. So even if you sign up for a couple of months to see the dozens of videos that we've made for members only, it might be one tip that makes you money. And it could be 3 years from now from something you learned. I'm making money today from things that I've learned over time, not just from what I learned yesterday. So check these things out. Use it as market research, right? Hey, my name is Tom Buchel from the iScrap Map and Rockaway Recycling. Any questions? We always try to be live Wednesday afternoons at 1 p.m. Eastern. Today is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. And until next week, I'll scrap you later.